YouTube. Now today we reacting to whoever this dude is ending 6 MMA careers. So I'm guessing he probably done cheated or did something he wasn't supposed to because they get banned. I don't know. But I ain't never watched no MMA fight. Well, I watched one, but I don't know how they do it. Cause they be tripping.
There's a guy named Rousimar Palhares who was one of the scariest motherfuckers to ever fight. And he would just dive on your legs and roll into these positions and rip your knees apart. These guys would be screaming in agony and slapping and tapping.
Saying, I'm out.
And he would be still twisting. And he was built like...
Damn. Bro, you gotta be crazy to do MMA. I'm telling you.
Like a human pit bull.
It never should have gotten to the 6th time. He never learned his lesson. He was never taught a lesson.
See, the first guy ever to get kicked out of the UFC for holding on to submissions.
From the dusty plantations of Brazil to the most feared cage presence in MMA, Rousimar Toquinho Palhares carved a path soaked in struggle, scandal, and snapped ligaments. Known for devastating leg locks and a refusal to let go, Palhares' story is a saga of raw power, controversy, and excommunication from the UFC. He wasn't just feared, he was banned. But before we dive into heel hooks, suspensions, and courtroom drama, hit that like button and subscribe. Now let's step into the world of Rousimar Palhares. Born on February 20th, 1980, in Douras do Indaia, Brazil, Rousimar Palhares was raised in crushing poverty.
I come from a very poor family.
One of 10 children in a family of farm workers, he labored in sugarcane fields as a child.
You see mothers who have one child and throw them in the garbage can. Not my mom. My mom gave birth to 13 children. 10 are alive, and she never left anyone behind. After my parents separated, we moved to San Antonio do Monte. I was a guy who at the age of 7 was already working in the fields. I worked in the fields my entire life.
Sometimes eating pig feed to survive.
About growing up on a farm and being forced to eat pig slop when he was a little boy.
No way.
That cut that he has on his chest, that big scar, he had sealed that up with glue.
I keep on going. I go and I go. Sometimes I forget the limits because I have these memories on my mind.
Like he's feral. He's feral.
At just 7 years old, he was working full days to help feed his family.
There where I worked, I took care of the cows, built fences, like a normal heavy labor worker. I even worked as a garbage collector on the streets.
But inside this quiet, stunted frame was a fighter.
Since when I first dropped school and started working in the fields, I felt something. Like I was going to do something great in this world. But I didn't know what it was, but I was going to do it.
At 15, he discovered jiu-jitsu.
When I started jiu-jitsu, I realized I started to understand that my
People like this, they need to send their ass to an army, bro.
body was built in a different way. My muscles worked in a different way. My muscles weren't built in a fitness room. They were built with a lot of effort.
By 19, he was sleeping in gyms, desperate to train. His brother gave him the money to get to Rio de Janeiro, where Palhares arrived homeless, sleeping under bridges.
1 week before I came to Brazilian top team, I gave up on fighting. I lost hope. I went to the gym to train with the guys. My brothers were there. After training, I told them I won't be fighting anymore. My brother had 300 reais in the bank. He told me to take the money and go to Rio to where Minotauro trained. He thought if they trained with me, they would invite me in, and that's what happened.
There, he was spotted by legends. In Rio, Palhares caught the eye of Murilo Bustamante, co-founder of Brazilian Top Team and former UFC middleweight champion. Bustamante brought him in, trained him relentlessly, and awarded him his black belt. Under Bustamante, Palhares became a leg lock machine.
I wouldn't want to be Rousimar's opponent because he is really strong, very explosive, very skilled on the ground.
His compact, muscular build, standing only 5 feet 8 inches but explosively powerful, earned him the nickname Toquinho, Portuguese for little tree stump. Palhares embraced the name, and teammates soon learned that trying to wrestle the tree stump was an arduous task. At the same time, Rodrigo Minotauro Nogueira mentored him, offering financial and emotional support. Together, they molded him into a submission specialist with one mission: tear through the middleweight ranks. Palhares' breakout came in Fury FC, Brazil's elite regional promotion. He tapped out Flavio Moura at Fury FC 4 in August 2007.
Tá no calcanhar, opa, pegou. Pegou, solta, Toquinho.
But even after the tap, he held the submission too long. It was the first clear sign of a dangerous habit, one that wouldn't go away. Then at Fury FC 5 in December, he finished Fabio Negao, a Pan-American BJJ champ.
But the problem is that this takes a lot of a nice transition to the... leg lock, and there he got it! I think he broke something.
Yeah, he's looking like he's some pain there in the middle of the ring.
It was a clean, high-level BJJ finish against a respected grappler, but it also marked the second time Palhares held a submission longer than necessary. Observers began to take notice. What once seemed like adrenaline was starting to look like a troubling pattern, one that would later define his controversial career. Then, in the final, he caught veteran Daniel Acasio in a heel hook, a devastating finish, but one he released more cleanly. It was a dominant sweep that suddenly made Toquinho a hot prospect in his home country and caught the attention of UFC scouts. In May 2008, Palhares made his UFC debut against Ivan Salivary, submitting the veteran in the first round with a brutal armbar. He followed up with fights against Dan Henderson, Jeremy Horn, and Lucio Linhares. The first major incident came at UFC 111 in March 2010. Palhares caught Tomas Draval in a heel hook just 45 seconds into the fight.
He's got it. Tap, 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 tap. He didn't let go. He tore his knee. He did not let go when he tapped either. He just mangled the leg of Tomas Gorilla Draval. And that is all it takes to rip apart a knee. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, that's like 5 solid seconds. That leg's gonna require surgery.
Draval screamed in pain as officials tried to pull Palhares off. The Nevada State Athletic Commission suspended him 90 days. He apologized, but it wouldn't be the last time.
Most MMA fans got upset with you over your last fight. You held the knee bar longer than necessary. Why did you do that?
I've had plenty problems like that. I've lost fights for situations like that, but that wasn't the case in this fight. I just held until the referee came to stop the fight. I apologize if they maybe misunderstood what I did, but at no circumstances I had the intention to hurt the other fighter.
After his controversial victory, Palhares returned to action in September 2010, facing Nate Marquardt at UFC Fight Night 22. In a bizarre moment, Palhares paused mid-fight to complain that Marquardt was greased, only to get dropped and finished by TKO seconds later. It was a humbling defeat.
Hey, look at this. He's saying that Nate Marquardt's legs are greased up. Nate, just to clear up the controversy, it seemed that Palhares was complaining that your legs were greased. The doctor checked it, the ringside, the commission checked it, totally clean. There is no controversy. The referee checked it as well.
But Palhares bounced back in 2011 with a pair of strong performances. He submitted David Branch via heel hook and later earned a unanimous decision over the durable Dan Miller at UFC 134 in Rio. These wins re-established him as a dangerous contender and showcased his relentless leg lock game. That same year, Palhares competed in the prestigious ADCC Submission Wrestling World Championship, where he leg-locked 3 opponents en route to a silver medal. However, his match against David Avalon stirred controversy when Palhares once again appeared to hold a submission too long, prompting criticism even within the grappling world. By then, Palhares had built a reputation as a human vice grip. Once he latched onto a limb, few could escape. His training at BTT had turned a poor farm kid into one of Brazil's most talked about MMA prospects, marrying raw strength with refined technique. The next incident came at UFC 142, when Palhares faced Mike Masencio. Once again, he secured a heel hook, and once again, held it too long.
Fight's over, fight's over, fight's over. It's all over. His knee's jacked.
It was starting to become impossible to ignore. After that, Palhares suffered back-to-back knockout losses, and questions about his durability started to rise. After his December 2012 fight against Hector Lombard, Palhares tested positive for elevated testosterone levels. He claimed he was on TRT, but he failed to disclose it to regulators. He was suspended 9 months. UFC brass were losing patience. But it wasn't until his return fight against Mike Pierce that everything finally boiled over.
He tested positive in his last fight for having elevated testosterone. He's been sanctioned before for holding on to a heel hook longer than he was supposed to after the ref called the fight. So yeah, I think he's a bit of an ass and a bit of a cheat. So I think that's just me stating facts.
He won via heel hook in just 31 seconds, but refused to let go even as Pierce tapped frantically and the referee intervened.
As soon as Pierce, actually just before he hits the mat, he's already tapping. That's how quick it was. He did not let go. Held it a little late there. He has one more leg in his collection.
For Dana White, it was the final straw. Palhares was cut from the UFC that same night.
Last night there was kind of an ugly incident. Rousimar Palhares, he had his opponent in an ankle lock. His opponent tapped out and Palhares wouldn't let go.
And this is the second incident we've had with Palhares, where he had the lock and he didn't let it go. Finally, he let it go, but yeah, I'm gonna cut him too.
You're gonna cut him. This is it. You're saying here right now on the record, not just a suspension, he's done.
He's done.
He's done.
Palhares' camp said he was perplexed by the release and doesn't understand it. What did they say to you when you told them they'd been cut?
He's not perplexed. He's not perplexed at all. The bottom line is that's the nastiest submission you can put somebody in. It's the dirtiest, nastiest submission in jiu-jitsu or in the sport of mixed martial arts. And when you get it and you know you got it and the guy taps, you let go. And if you don't, I will cut you.
The question is now, if Palhares gets his act together, is the door still open for him to return to the UFC?
He has a history of doing this. He did it in Abu Dhabi, and he knew what he was doing that night. That's what Palhares is known for. He's the best. He's the best in the world at leg locks. And what he did was wrong and really despicable, what he did. He won't be back. He can go fight in another organization. We don't put up with that stuff here.
He definitely holds too long. Yeah, he just doesn't want to let it go. They make him let it go, and he tried, even though he knew that they were going to get mad at him if he didn't let go, still didn't quite let go.
Yeah.
And they're like, get the fuck out of here. They kicked him out of the UFC, the first guy ever to get kicked out of the UFC for holding on to submissions.
What is the latest damage report on the leg after the fight with Palhares?
A sprained MCL on the knee. The ankle, though, had more damage, and on the outside, have an almost completely torn ligament there.
Palhares now faces a huge obstacle career-wise as the UFC, Bellator, World Series of Fighting, and now KSW won't sign him to a fight. Are you at all sympathetic of what he's going through now?
No, actually, I'm not. But I didn't really know about all the other stuff from before. I guess before he was in the UFC at other fight promotions, he had a history of doing the same thing. At jiu-jitsu tournaments, he had a history of doing the same thing. I didn't realize entirely how much of a problem it was. It was just bound to happen at some point, and this is just the final nail in the coffin for him.
I'd be terrified if I was fighting this guy, knowing that if he catches me with something, I might get my leg snapped, and then I can't make a living for a year.
We've seen that he's done this a number of times. I'm not justifying it at all, but word is that, of course, he does it in the gym, but he does it because he's so terrified that Mike Pierce was going to do to him what Hector Lombard did to him.
When the referee says you've won,
yeah,
the fear's over. There's no justification for this guy. I don't buy the English barrier. You know exactly what you've done. A referee signaling the stop is universal. The fight's over. I have no sympathy for this guy if he loses his job.
After his UFC release, Bellator made it clear they had no interest in signing Palhares. His reputation had become too toxic, but World Series of Fighting took a chance. They saw the talent and perhaps hoped the controversy could be contained. Palhares signed with WSOF.
I think this was all a learning experience. I think I've really matured a lot now, and this is a new time for me.
And quickly made an impact, submitting Steve Carl to become their welterweight champion.
Rousimar Palhares made his World Series of Fighting debut on Saturday night and was a successful one as he tapped out welterweight champion Steve Carl in only 69 seconds to capture the championship.
So I think that Palhares is one of these guys that creates interest because there's so much controversy.
With a Rousimar Palhares submission win, still some controversy coming out of it. I watched this finish numerous times, and I think if this were any other fighter, there would not have been one critic in the world about the submission. So I did not have a problem with the submission.
This one, I think he was all right. But that doesn't mean we gotta stop keeping an eye on this crazy man.
Then came WSOF 16, where Palhares defended his welterweight title against veteran John Fitch. True to form, he attacked the legs early and locked in a knee bar, securing the tap just 90 seconds into the first round. But once again, controversy followed. Fitch claimed Palhares held the submission too long and cranked it with excessive force even after the tap.
You know, you see that? Oh my God, it hurts me when I'm just watching this.
Though the promotion didn't take action at the time, the MMA world took note. Palhares' dangerous habits weren't just continuing, they were escalating.
Did you fight the guy again, or do you think he should be gone?
It never should have gotten to the 6th time. He never learned his lesson. He was never taught a lesson. There's fighters who may have had time taken off of their career because of those injuries they received from the submissions being held for too long. You know, I still have a little bit of a limp in my leg. That'll probably be there forever, you know? But again, I don't blame Palhares, I blame the commission.
The breaking point came at WSOF 22, when Palhares faced former Strikeforce champion Jake Shields.
Yeah, he likes to take the knees and rip them, and he's a guy that's not known for stopping when you tap either. He'll take it and try to break the leg. You know, he's been kicked out of multiple organizations for trying to hurt people.
The bout was ugly from start to finish. Palhares repeatedly gouged Shields' eyes, raked his face, and used questionable tactics throughout the fight. Then, in the third round, he locked in a brutal Kimura, and again, held it long after the tap. Shields screamed in pain, but Palhares wouldn't let go. To make matters worse, Shields threw a punch after the bell, adding chaos to controversy.
And once again, Palhares maintains the hold. Clearly the tap is coming.
Shields called it the dirtiest fight he'd ever been in, and this time, the fallout was immediate.
And I was just really pissed. The guy had just gouged my eyes over and over. It was 100% absolutely deliberate. I kept telling Maserati he was completely ignoring it, and he just, allowed this guy to blatantly cheat. And then on top of that, he cranked the submission after I tapped, so it was just, it was really irritating.
Ray did say when he signed Palhares that he'd be watching closely his submissions, and if there was a repeat of the Mike Pierce situation, he wouldn't stay within the company. Do you think there should be some kind of punishment for the stuff that he did in the octagon? Because a lot of the stuff was obviously blatantly illegal.
He's probably suspended, especially with his track record.
When's your next fight scheduled?
Nothing scheduled. Probably early next year. I've been rehabbing my shoulder from that prick.
Right.
He didn't get paid his money bonus. It was just, it was a lot of drama. We're going to go back and we're going to see what's happening in the fight on videos, and if Palhares really held the submission long and eye gouges for sure, there's going to be some consequences.
Nevada State Athletic Commission fined Palhares $40,000 and suspended him 2 years. Shields also faced discipline, but the focus was squarely on Palhares.
The World Series of Fighting organization has stripped welterweight champion Rousimar Palhares of his championship and suspended him indefinitely following Saturday's controversial win over Jake Shields.
With no U.S. promotion willing to take him, Palhares fought in Russia, Poland, Italy, wherever would have him.
Rousimar signed with us, Bellator. These guys just hate Palhares. They don't want him. Why, for God's sake, you want to ruin other people's lives? He has a family to feed. So what do you want from this guy? We'd love to have him in Italy.
Eye poking, not to let the submission go after tap out. We have seen numerous times since Abu Dhabi that Palhares crushes people's career.
If I do my job, I won't get in that position.
After his loss to Emil Weber-Meek in 2016, Palhares drifted across various international promotions, including ACA, Fight Nights Global, and KSW, racking up a mix of wins and losses. Outside of MMA, Palhares dabbled in competitive grappling again, entering a no-gi jiu-jitsu tournament in 2021, though it went largely unnoticed. As of the latest updates in late 2024, Palhares incredibly has still not hung up his gloves. At 44 years old, he signed with a regional promotion called the Global Fight League in December 2024, signaling his intent to continue fighting. Promotions booked him for name value. Fans watched for the spectacle. Once a UFC force, he was now MMA's warning label. As of 2025, Rousimar Palhares is 45 years old. His name still sends shivers down the spines of those who rolled with him, but his legacy is tainted. He was a phenom, technically brilliant, brutally strong, and emotionally volatile. Too dangerous for the UFC, too reckless for WSOF, too unpredictable for Bellator. But one thing's certain, nobody forgets Toquinho.
Nowadays I sit and look around. How is this possible? Thanks to God. Really. Thanks to God. I can't complain about anything in my life. Of all I went through, I can't complain about anything. All of what I went through was the price I had to pay.
If you like this deep dive into MMA's most controversial...
Do y'all think something wrong with that dude? Because if you come from where he come from, you're not messing up that money. It might be a little something wrong with him, but we out.